Well, members of the Tanga Tanga movement are this afternoon expected to give what they call a State of the Nation address on the current lockdown in the 5 counties and a conditional loan to Kenya from the International Monetary Fund. We have our senior political reporter, Kennedy Mureithi, on ground and is now joining us with the latest on what they're expected to speak about. Mureithi, good to see you. What are some of these issues that are of concern and are supposed to be raised by the members of Parliament?
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Zainab, there in our Nairobi studios. And unfortunately, a minute ago, we've just been told by the conveners of this meeting that they have been chased away from this particular hotel where we are by the police, and they just have to have the press conference outside the precincts of this particular hotel where we are at the Social House in Lavington. We had been called by members or some allies of Deputy President William Ruto, who were expected to speak on 3 things according to the press invite that we were given. They wanted, according to the press invite, they said that they were going to speak about the state of the nation, the IMF, and also the lockdown. The message also said that it was a meeting that had been called by members of parliament from the 5 counties that have been locked in by a directive that was given by President Uhuru Kenyatta about a week ago. But right now they have to rethink their strategy because they have just been taken out of this particular hotel because of COVID protocols, and they just have to do the press conference from outside. But what we had gathered already is that one of the things that they were coming to do is that there has been a lot of talk with regards to this lockdown that was imposed by President Uhuru Kenyatta about a week ago. And one of the things that they were coming to do is to call on government to actually move in with speed and actually probably propose a raft of measures that the government would probably take in so as to mitigate some of the talk that Kenyans have been having, including the loss of livelihood, and also churches who have been saying that this time round it has hit them hard. Remember, we've been carrying stories about all week where Kenyans have been saying, or even opinion shapers have been saying, that they were not consulted in this new raft of measures that were announced by the government. And this time round, there was a probability that they were going to give out those measures according to them what would really work. With regards to the IMF, remember just a few days ago, the IMF was able to advance a loan of about 250 billion shillings. And Kenyans have been all over social media speaking to this, and also even going as far as to the IMF wall, trying to call on the government to rethink, or trying to call on the IMF to rethink their strategy or not to loan Kenya any more money. And this has actually been a point of talk. So we expected that with regards to that, they would be touching on the talk that Kenyans have been having with regards to that. So when they were calling it a State of the Nation address, we were waiting to hear what is it that they will be talking about. Remember, when President Uhuru Kenyatta locked down the country, the percentage rate of infection in the country was at 22%. A day later, it had already risen to 26%. And President Uhuru Kenyatta, even on Friday when he met opposition leader Raila Odinga, he said that he had to take the measures that he did. And he said that even if these measures that he has already put in place were not working, then he would move ahead and impose more of this, because what he's insisted is that lives matter more than the economy at this time. So let us wait to hear what the sentiments that will be from these particular members of parliament will be. But right now, Zainab, what we've been able to ascertain, and also one of them, the conveners, Dennis Itumbi, together with one of the management officers of this hotel, have just come and said that police have kicked them out and they have to do this press conference from outside the precincts of this particular hotel. So we really want to hear what has happened and what they will be speaking to, and we'll be giving you more details in our subsequent bulletins.
Let's just head back to the press conference that was supposed to be held by a section of the Tanga Tanga members of parliament. They are speaking now. Let's listen in.
Counties facing a lockdown and that have been defined as the disease-infected area. We are cognizant of the devastation caused by the COVID-19 pandemic that has morphed from a health pandemic to what is now a full-blown social and economic crisis, which we are afraid, if not addressed wholesomely, may also lead to a season of political instability for governments around the world, with ours not being an exception. With the recent rise in the cost of fuel, electricity and subsequent increased cost of living, coupled with our increasing compounded public debt levels management, our situation is more dire and calls for immediate and urgent action. This is the reason we come together as leaders to offer or share our unsolicited counsel or our thoughts, if you may. Taking note of His Excellency the President's sentiments as he announced the recent containment measures that involved 5 of our most productive counties in terms of revenue generation to government exchequer, which admittedly he stated that these were not his measures, but those of his healthcare advisors. We respect that view and have no reason indeed to doubt His Excellency the President, as he has to take counsel and advice from experts in healthcare. We, however, also appreciate that these measures will adversely affect the livelihoods of millions of our people, the people we represent. These people in the affected areas are not just generators of government revenue. They generate revenue to government as they also directly support livelihoods of millions of families in these counties and across the country. Therefore, with utmost respect to His Excellency the President and his high office, we pray to remind him that despite these measures not being his prescription as our President and leader, elected by the same millions whose livelihoods have been disrupted, he owes these people, these families, a duty of care. It is indeed his responsibility as head of state and government to ensure that he not only protects the lives and health care of our people, but also protects and defends their livelihoods and their very dignity as human beings. We are, however, afraid to inform our President that the measures taken are not only robbing from our people their means of livelihood, but are threatening their human dignity as families now face starvation. Fathers and mothers who only 2 weeks ago could fend for and provide food for their children are now sinking into depression as they stare at their starving children sleep without a meal. As leaders elected by these people, we cannot escape from the glaring reality. Being grassroots leaders, we are overwhelmed by the calls and text messages asking for help either with food, rent, or other basic necessities. We as elected leaders share in his duty of care and responsibility to the people. We are too junior to His Excellency the President to even qualify to be his advisors, and this is the reason we pray that he may find it in his wisdom to rescue the people from further suffering. We therefore wish to propose the following to His Excellency the President. 1, that he sets up a lifetime fund that will at least offer stipends for food rations to a minimum of 4 million Kenyans across the 5 counties. We do this once again appreciating the President's statement that it will not be plausible to offer tax breaks to sections of the country as only 5 counties are affected. This way, at least the most vulnerable of our people will be able to access food rations for their families, even without the tax breaks, and therefore rescuing their dignity as human beings able to feed their offspring. Number 2, that the government offers support to businesses affected by the lockdown measures such as hotels, food kiosks, market vendors who supply the hotels, aka that is the mama bogas, bars, those in the transport sector, these are the buses, matatus, pro-box transporters, bodabodas.
Ningependa nimaliza kusema hivi, kwamba huu ni wakati wa hatari. Wananchi wana ghadhabu, wananchi wamekasirika. Huu sio wakati wa kuwachokoza wananchi. Hasa vitengo vya usalama wawe na hisia za kibinadamu wanapohusiana na wananchi wetu. Mwananchi ambaye hana kazi hawezi akapata shilingi 3,000 kuweza kujitoa korokoroni kwa kwamba ameshikwa akiwa hajavaa mask, na mwenye anamshika mwenyewe hajavaa mask. Kwa hivyo tunaomba hata kama ni kudumisha usalama katika wakati huu, tuweze kufanya hivyo tukitumia midhini ya kisheria na midhini ya haki za kibinadamu, kwa sababu tukiongea sasa ni Wakenya wengi sana ambao wamekumbana na vitengo hivi vya usalama na wakaweza kupokonywa mali yao, kwa sababu kuombwa hongo wakati huu ni kama wizi wa kimabavu, kwa sababu huyo Mkenya hana kazi ambayo anategemea ili aweze kupata mapato. Kwa hivyo tungependa tutoe hizo suluhu tatu ili ziweze kusaidia mawazo rais wetu anapofanya maamuzi, kwa kuwa najua na wandani wengi na pia na washauri wengi. Sisi ni sauti ndogo tu, tunaomba kwamba mambo haya matatu yatekelezwe ili wananchi wetu waweze kupata afueni katika wakati huu mgumu. Asante.
Asante. Unless kuna vernacular. Mnataka lugha gani? Kikuyu? Haya, Kikuyu kwanza alafu Kiluya. Otaigo ya kuhinga kaunti ici na tugatia muno makiria ritana riria president aretanire na tugatia meciria make ona uria aratwirire ati makinya maria arakinyukirie ti makinya make ni makinya ma mataro maria hetwo ni andu aria marukamirie ũgima wa mwĩrĩ na tukamatia no tukenda kumuririkania president witu ena mũrigo mũnene akuĩte okorĩtie passport akuĩte wa kũmenyerera mĩtũrĩre na mĩikarĩre ya andũ andũ arĩa maraturĩrĩra o mũthenya magĩtũmoya irio magĩtũmoya mbia cia nyũmba angĩ makĩmoya mbia ya thibitarĩ makĩona njĩra ya kũinũka na mathĩna marĩa mega. Na tũrenda gũteithia thirikari na meciria atĩ wa mbere mbeca iria ciraigire kũrenda bili itanyihĩire birioni 14 nĩ mbeca ciganĩte nĩ ũndũ wa andũ arĩa manyitĩirwo mawĩra mao aingĩ arĩa maraga irio, ona mũndũ aga maũndũ marĩa mangĩ mothe ndakage gĩtĩo gĩa kũhota kũhe ciana ciake irio. Tũkahoya thirikari ĩnyite tũkayambĩrĩria andũ matanyihĩire andũ mirioni 4 kaunti-inĩ ici 5 o cia kũgũra irio tu kana ndawa mũndũ angĩkorwo ndekũigaya. Tũgacoka tũkahoya mbeca iria cirarutĩrwo IMF ciambe cihũthĩrwo hamwe na iria ciĩ kĩbengũ-inĩ kĩa Ulinzi borithi-inĩ aya mũrona magĩtũnyarira gũkũ. Mbeca icio tondũ mbarĩ ĩrĩa nene mũno twĩna ũrĩmi ya mĩcinga na ridani, mbarĩ ĩrĩa twĩnayo nene mũno nĩ ya ũgitĩri wa mwĩrĩ. Mbeca tũnyite ta birioni 50 ihũthĩrwo kũheana vaccine na mask kana gũteithia andũ arĩa mena mũrimũ wa COVID matũũra-inĩ ma bũrũri.
Mbona unajificha? Unaogopa tega? Ndio unajipanganga, unajua ni wapi watakimbia. Nikirushwa hawezi kimbia aende. Atakimbia huko. Swala kurushia kwa. So unaenda mahali watakimbilia.
Na nĩ twauga tũgwĩtanĩte tũgũkomborete nyũmba kũrĩa igũrũ, nyũmba nene ĩrĩa nginya inyuĩ andũ a media mũkĩhotire gũkorwo na social distance, na nĩkĩo tugire handũ ha gwĩka press conference tũrĩ andũ makĩria ma 20 tũtĩe watho twike turi atatu handu-ini ha Cwaki na inyuĩ nĩ tũkũmũrĩtie mũke mũndũ ũmwe kana erĩ, mũndũ wa kamera na mwandĩki ũmwe kuma station, tũkamũthondekera nyũmba njega kũrĩa mũkawa-inĩ na tũkarĩha mbeca iria twaroka gũcokerio gwatuĩka thirikari yauga tũtiagĩrĩire kwarĩria mũkawa ũcio, nĩkĩo tuoka kwarĩria barabara-inĩ na nĩ tũkwenda kũmithia gĩko kĩu. Twĩre Inspector General wa borithi ona OCS wa Mũthangari, ũyũ ti bũrũri wa borithi, ũyũ nĩ bũrũri wa andũ na tũrĩ andũ a kwarĩrĩria andũ, kana twĩ mbunge kana twĩ nja ya mbunge, no nginya tũthiĩ na mbere na kwarĩrĩria andũ aitũ, na gũtirĩ mĩcinga, gũtirĩ ũndũ ũgũtwĩkĩra guoya kana kuororohia mwito ũrĩa twĩ naguo wa kwarĩrĩria na gũtetera andũ aitũ, tondũ ti nyamũ tũratetera, nĩ ruo rũrĩa tũraigua, nĩ kĩrĩro kĩrĩa tũrarĩra, andũ aitũ mararĩra magatũrĩria, nĩ kwaga irio, nĩ mawĩra mao gũthũka, nĩkĩo tũrahoya na gĩtĩo kĩnene twĩnyihĩtie na nĩ twauga ithuĩ tũrĩ andũ anyinyi mũno, ona tũtikinyĩte kĩwango gĩa kũhe mawaitha president, no nĩ kũmũhoya tũramũhoya na gĩtĩo, tafadhali nĩ kwĩra andũ aitũ tha. Asante.
Thanks so much, guys.
Sasa
So they take pictures. I'm one of them to send.
I'll send.
yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I'll send.